I have the great pleasure and honor to speak about one of the greatest legends of our game, Viktor Korchnoi. And in this part of the DVD, I'm going to make an overview and take a look at Viktor Korchnoi's openings throughout his career, see how they developed, how he devised openings. Viktor Korchnoi has been influential in the chess world for about 6 decades. In his teens until veteran, basically since he was 15, 17 until he was 80, he did play chess at the highest level. And from this perspective, it's extremely interesting to see how he has developed as a chess player in his openings. He's also well known as a great fighter at the chessboard, outside the chessboard, of course. And in this sense, it's quite intriguing to try and see how he devised his opening repertoire to allow a fight in his games. The first thing we have to say is that Korchnoi definitely belongs to the shorter category of chess players who find ideas in openings. They don't just follow what the opening theory dictates. They search, they use their fantasy, and they analyze. And at the end of the day, 1, 2 ideas come out, which they are ready to try out over the board. Obviously, Viktor Korchnoi grew up and throughout his career played chess without the help of chess engines. Even though they did exist at the end of his career, I don't think he really made use of them. Everything that he played was thought through at his analysis board, through the sweat of his head and hands, and everything was the product of his own thoughts. This is interesting because nowadays, in times where it suffices to push a button to get an estimation, an evaluation of the position, back then you needed to formulate an evaluation with words. Why do I play this move? Why is this position better or not better? What makes it interesting to play this move? And therefore, we can say that Viktor Korchnoi devised his ideas through logic, chess logic, through chess principles, which he obviously mastered. And therefore, all the ideas that he tried out, some of them more risky than others, but all of them followed his logic. All of them followed his, I would put it almost as emotions, basically his liking. If he likes an idea, he will try to make it work, even though it might be risky, even though it might not be 100% sound, he'll try and make it work. All over the board, and of course following the rules, the principles of chess. There is one word I have said, it's creativity, searching for ideas. His level of creativity has always been extremely high. It's his love of chess, his love for chess that transpires through his ideas. And we are extremely lucky to have these, 5,000 games more or less of his that are left. He probably played maybe 1,000 or 2,000 more which have been lost. But we are left with about 5,000 games of his. It's an incredible wealth of ideas, a reserve of ideas that we can just click with a computer and try and go see. When preparing for this DVD, I found some games that I had never seen before, and with little ideas here and there, which are extremely interesting, and which are worth trying out, and which are completely forgotten. Speaking about fantasy, he had to face Anatoly Karpov. in 3 matches for the World Championship. The first time was 74. This was the final of the candidates' matches. The winner, they didn't know it at the time, but the winner turned out to be the world champion, since Bobby Fischer defaulted in 75, the year after. And then in 78 and 81, both final matches for the World Championship. Korchnoi faced Karpov in about 90 games in total. And their openings were worked out perfectly. And at some point here in the second match in 78, this is game 11, I'm going to show here quickly. Karpov leads 1-0 at the moment with 9 draws so far. So a solid start generally. And Korchnoi tried G3. This is a move he almost never played in his life. And in that match, he began with D4, mostly C4 on knight f3, so basically closed openings. But here he tried G3. I have no idea what he expected and what he thought and why he did it. But he played G3 and Karpov went C5. And I don't think he could really expect this turn of events. And here he played E4, which, as we can see in the few next moves, transposes into some sort of closed Sicilian. Viktor Korchnoi was no E4 player. He did play E4 from time to time. He knew things. He was a universal player, and as any universal player, you must be able to at least understand all types of positions. You are not forced to like them all, but you must try and understand them. And he did play E4 in quite a few games. And he was acquainted with the closed Sicilian after preparing for Boris Spassky, the matches against Boris Spassky, when he wanted to play the Sicilian. And Boris Spassky was a great specialist, expert in the closed Sicilian. Through this work, this analysis, the analysis that he made, and the whole work he made for Spassky, preparing for Spassky, he gained so much knowledge and feeling for this type of positions that he felt ready to play this position now against Karpov. He was probably even very happy to get this position after the 7th move against Anatoly Karpov, who didn't really play the Sicilian. Karpov played the Sicilian, but he was not a great expert there. And here Korchnoi played C3, which he considered to be better than knight C3. Knight C3 in the closed Sicilian is usually played very early on, so you don't really have a choice. But he had a choice. He played C3 in order to go D4 next. And so he prepared D4. It came. Bishop G4, threatening the pawn on D4. Rook D1. D5. Karpov reacted not in the best way, for sure. Even though his position remains playable, it's clear that White is in the driving seat here. He has 2 bishops, he has some more space, and clearly this turn of events favored Korchnoi. As a matter of fact, it's a pity that in all those games he played against Karpov, he did not attempt more often to go for such small ideas like G3 here. There is another game from another match where he tried the Trompovsky. Korchnoi played D4, knight f6, and bishop G5, the Trompovsky against Karpov. It worked out perfectly, and he won the game. Had he played those small ideas, those kind of hit and run ideas, you try them once and never again in the match. So if he had had more of these ideas, or tried more of these ideas, as risky as they may have been, perhaps the course of history would have been different. In any case, I kindly invite you to switch to the following videos, where we're going to take a look at Korchnoi's openings, first with white and then with black. And I hope that you'll enjoy this journey, and that, of course, I hope that you will be able to learn something from this great master.